What's going on, everybody? Today we have a really good one. This one's about business, another business video. Really liking these business ones. So in this video we're gonna go over warehouse basics. All right, and I apologize for the airplanes. There's airplanes all the time. So warehouse basics, it's a lot to cover, so let's start this off. The first part of warehouse basics is safety. Safety is number one. You don't want anybody getting hurt. You don't want lawsuits. You don't want legal and financial discrepancies in your warehouse or in your warehousing business. So safety is first. And I got a couple tips for safety. Use protection, personal protective equipment, or PPE. That will be steel-toe boots, gloves. You could use safety goggles, things like that. The next is forklift certifications, or any type of machines that you might be operating to move the merchandise around or to receive and ship items. You want to have trained personnel that are certified, OSHA certified, with the appropriate OSHA safety requirements for the maximum safety benefits for your warehouse company or warehousing business. And the last thing I want to speak about on safety is you want to have first aid stations, eye washing stations, or shower heads for any type of hazardous chemicals that you might be handling. You want to have first aid stations in multiple locations and strategic areas of the warehouse, as well as safety exits in case of a fire emergency or any type of emergency that you have to get out of the building. You want to have safety areas. You want to have a safety map in multiple strategic locations around the warehouse. These safety maps are going to help people identify safety routes and exit routes in case of an emergency. So the next part of warehouse basics I want to get into is inventory management. You want to label all your merchandise, all items, label them. You want to keep items separated based on what items they are. Make sure they're all labeled, make sure they're all in the appropriate locations or the bins that you assign to them. Make sure these bins are also labeled. You want to have everything labeled, everything organized, and being able to find every single thing the most efficient manner, the quickest manner, and the most easy to find way for all items, the most accessible way. Now, the next part of inventory management is consolidation. You want to maximize the space you have in your warehouse by putting items in the smallest amount of space you can to keep as much space available for new items as possible. So consolidating can be, you might have 2 or 3 locations in your warehouse with the same item. If you do, then you want to put these items all into one bin preferably, and you just freed up 2 bins in the case that you had 3 bins with the same item and they could all fit in one bin. You just made 2 new spots for 2 other items in your warehouse. So consolidation is very important, maximizing the space and your racking space and your bin location. Free up space so that you can add more items and bring in more merchandise into your warehouse, which will increase your profit and the volume of earnings and the volume of work that you can produce in the warehouse. So now let's get into receiving. You want to receive items to store them and then ship them and sell them later on. So receiving is, first and foremost, you want to verify whatever shipment you're receiving. Verify it's the right item. Verify it's the right quantity. Verify it's the appropriate address that it's being delivered to. You don't get someone else's shipment because the driver messed up. These are all little things you got to watch out for when you're receiving. Then you want to check for damages. Make sure no one was opening or handling your item or hit your item, or that it fell over in the truck while it was getting delivered to you. You want to make sure nothing is damaged or broken. That way, if it is, you can take pictures, have proof, and then you can claim this to the driver or the company which the driver works for and have a return on the investment that you made in purchasing the shipment in the case that it's damaged. So the next part of receiving is that you want to put away the merchandise appropriately. Like I previously stated, consolidation is important. Maximizing available racking space is important. So you want to make sure you put the item with other items that are the same item. If they fit, You want to make sure you don't waste up a lot of rack space or bin space on the item. So if you can condense this or consolidate what you're receiving into bins that already have that item, that'll be even better. Remember to label all of these. Make sure they're appropriately labeled so that they don't get lost. Make sure everything is input into a system, some type of system, whether it's a warehousing management system or whether it's an operating system in which you can input information such as bins, items that are in the bin, the quantity of items in the bin, and a record of all the movements that happen of this item and of the bins and all the movements that happen. You want all this in a system in your warehouse, all on record, to be able to verify and look for items in the case items might go missing or maybe misplaced. You want to be able to find items and check for discrepancies, maybe in the inventory when you do auditing or cycle counts. You want to check for discrepancies. So keep everything recorded in a system, whether a warehouse management system or an operational system, which you can input bins, quantities of items and items into these bins and have it all programmed in an accessible way. All right, so now let's go into the next part of warehousing basics, which is shipping. When you're shipping, when you go get the item you're gonna ship, you wanna verify the item, verify the quantity, make sure you're getting the right item, the right quantity, make sure it looks nice, make sure it's clean, make sure it's not broken. You don't wanna ship a damaged item. Then once you verify the item, you wanna pack it, and in packing items or strapping pallets or items that you're gonna ship out, you wanna make sure they're safe, they're secured. Add padding, add straps, whatever you gotta do to make sure that whatever you ship out will not be damaged and minimize the probability of damages and of pretty much the item arriving malfunctioning and not being usable by the customer. So padding, bubble wrapping, papers, strapping, etc. You want to pack the item well, make sure it does not break. Then the next part of shipping will be to create the shipping documentation. You want to create invoices for your customers. You want to create shipping labels. You want to create BOLs depending on how the shipment will get shipped out, and all of these things. These are all factors that will affect the shipping documentation and that will affect all of the shipping processes as well as the transportation part of the shipments. So now, the last part of shipping is that you want to close these orders in the system and remove these items from inventory in the system that I previously mentioned. You want to make sure that if you took out 10 pieces of an item, you take them out physically and in the system, that you're bookkeeping and recording all your movements. And it's very important because you want to avoid auditing discrepancies and you want to avoid legal and or financial loss by discrepancies in your inventory and item misplacement. So make sure it all gets input and outputted from the system as well as in the physical inventory. Now, the next part of warehousing is customer service and sales. So you want to track the orders that you're receiving, the customers are asking for. You want to track these. You want a system or people that are employed by you to keep a track of these orders. You want these people to also reach out to your customers and to explain to your customers all the information, provide good customer service, tell these customers when they'll receive their product, what product it is, tell them other offers, maybe offer other products. This is going to help with your sales and in your marketing. You want to give your customers other products that could be available or special offers that you have. You want to keep the customers up to date on shipment tracking information in the case that they need a shipment in a specific date. You want to keep all this information given to your customer by your customer service team and or sales team. Very important to keep your customers and turn them into recurring customers. You want to have this very strong customer service and sales team in your warehouse. The next part of warehousing basics is going to be logistics and coordination. So you want to set up freight carriers, you want to schedule pickups, you want to schedule UPS or FedEx or whatever transportation you're going to use for your product or service. So you want to set up freight carriers, select appropriate delivery schedules and pickup schedules, and provide and document tracking to be able to track your orders as they go out and whether they're delivered or not, and to track the time as well as the costs of all of this. This is all going to be very beneficial to you if you have a logistic team or a coordinator team to keep track of all inbound and outbound movements as well as deliveries. Very important, logistics and coordination, setting up BOLs, delivery time scheduling, and things like this. So the next part of warehouse basics is going to be management. You want to have supervisors. Supervisors are going to handle your employees that are picking, packing, receiving, and coordinating the logistics. Supervisors are going to be responsible for pretty much keeping on track and implementing the strategies that are given to you or that are created by you. The supervisors are going to be the direct link to the employees that are doing the labor of the business or warehouse. So you want to also have managers to handle your supervisors. Managers are going to be implementing systems to create efficiency and generate greater income as well as reduce expenses. The managers are going to communicate and act as a link between your supervisors, which work directly for your workers. They're going to handle your workers. The managers will handle the supervisors and create a link of communication between the executives or the important owners of the business and the supervisors. So managers are very important. You want managers to communicate executive orders from superiors to the supervisors so that the supervisors can implement these new strategies and new standards of procedures to your workers and your shipping, receiving, and logistics coordinators, as well as your customer service. You want a manager to handle all these communication links and to create systems for the most efficient production as well as the most efficient loss of expenses. You want to minimize expenses. Managers will help you with that, as well as to guide and keep record of performance indicators, sort of handle to track how the business is growing and or if it is growing at all. So managers will help with this. They will communicate directly to executives and bring this information down to the supervisors, which will give it to the employees. So now we're gonna go into the next part of warehouse, which is accounting and bookkeeping. You need to file all receivings. Every shipment you receive, file it. Keep record of everything. You need to file all shipments that are shipped out, all outbound, all inbound. You want to calculate all the gross and net profits. You want to calculate all the expenses. You want to keep track and record, keep files of everything that has to do with the cash flow of your warehouse. Accounting and bookkeeping team is going to definitely be a huge benefit for you, especially as the business grows or the warehouse grows. You're going to need help keeping track of all expenses and incomes, and you want to make sure that you have a record of all the cash flow. This will help with taxes. It's also going to help with auditing. It's going to help with legal matters, and it's going to help overall your business to be as high performing as can be done and possible. And the final aspect of warehouse basics I want to get into is human resources. So human resources is someone responsible for all inquiries from employees. They're going to handle everything that has to do with issues between employees, all complaints of any type of harassment issues, as well as discrimination issues. These are all very important to handle. Legal issues, this is all very important. You want to have human resources help you out with hiring processes, background checks, documentations for the hiring process, as well as termination processes or maternity leaves, other legal procedures and documentation, as well as bookkeeping information. Human resources will be a definite, greatly advantageous tool to you to handle and produce the most efficient warehouse service that can be produced. Anyway, that's all for today's video, warehouse basics. I hope this was helpful for you guys. I really love these discussions. Is there any topic you would like to go into further or discuss more in depth, whether in this video or other videos? I'm more than happy to discuss these topics more in depth and go into greater documentations, more in-depth explanations. It's going to definitely be of help for us, and it's going to be of help for your future, your financial success, as well as your health and relationship success. I'm definitely open to helping you guys out and discussing these topics. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. That helps the algorithm push my message out there. I'm trying to create a healthy, happy, abundant life for everyone in the world, full of strong masculine men that protect and provide, and beautiful feminine ladies who nurture and raise our children and create the most beautiful society in history. Anyway, I wish you a successful and powerful rest of your day.